and gentlemen, what the world has been waiting for, what the world needs now, the one, the only, amazing, original, Johnny Blaze. Often imitated, but never duplicated. There's Johnny.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all to the original Johnny Blaze Show. It's always great to be here as I blaze right in with my karate kick. Let's have a blazing hot fun time. My last girlfriend asked me to get her something special for her birthday, so I bought her a fancy new belt and a bag. And when she opened her gift, she asked me, what am I supposed to do with these? I told her, first, you can replace the broken parts in the vacuum cleaner, and then maybe you can get some cleaning done around here. There's just no pleasing some people. I once applied for a job in a department store, and the manager asked me if I had any degrees, and I told him I have a PhD. What does that mean, he asked. I answered, it stands for pass high school with difficulty. When I was a child, I asked my mother, do all fairy tales have to begin with once upon a time? And she replied, no, the fairy tales your father tells me often begin with, honey, I'll be working late again at the office. A woman told her doctor, Doc, I can't stop stealing things. Please help me. The doctor replied, here, take these pills for a week. If that doesn't work, get me a flat-screen TV. A government bureaucrat sat bored in his office when a genie suddenly appeared before him, granting him 3 wishes. First, I want my own private island. And then I want the most beautiful woman to live there with me. A puff of smoke appeared, and the man soon found himself on an island with a gorgeous woman. The genie appeared. You still have one more wish, master. The man replied, I don't want to work ever again. Another cloud of smoke appeared, and the man found himself back at his old office again. We have a blazing hot fun show with a special guest. She is a multi-talented and award-winning singer, songwriter, musician, and all-around entertainer. Please give a big warm welcome and say hello to the one and only Victoria VOX.
Hello.
Victoria, welcome to the amazing Original Johnny Blaze Show.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. You look lovely, a beautiful smile there.
Thank you. It's
You're
11
welcome.
p.m. here in the Midwest.
In the Midwest? I thought you were in Costa Mesa.
I live in Costa Mesa. I'm currently on tour.
Oh, you're on tour now. Oh.
So I'll get home mid-August.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's great. Well, thank you for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
You're certainly welcome, Victoria. Yeah, just give me a rundown, Victoria. Tell me about the Victoria VOX story. How did you get started in entertainment, and where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I'm currently at my mother's house in Green Bay. So I try to get back to this area for shows, at least in the summertime. I've been playing the ukulele for about 18 years now, and I started writing songs when I was 10, and when I was 6, I decided I was going to be a singer.
Wow, you started young.
Yeah. I just loved music. I think ultimately I loved music and how it made me feel and wanted to do that forever.
That's wonderful. What is there about music that excites you? What is there about it?
I would say the way that singing makes me feel physically, that when I sing, the way that my chest vibrates, and probably even with, babies and children when they're crying or screaming or cooing to themselves, there's that vibration, and it's comforting. And so I don't know, I guess I always liked the way that felt. And even today as an adult, if I'm at a show and there's a point where they ask the audience to join in song and sing along, I join in, and I always have that. I mentally think like, God, it feels good to sing.
So it's a great feeling, and you love the kind of feedback that you get in shows, on live shows. Is that right?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I said you love the feedback you probably get at live shows, right?
Yeah, it's been great. Usually people respond with, I didn't think I would like this, or this isn't what I thought ukulele music would be, or I was really pleasantly surprised. And then people enjoy the singing, but they usually comment on my mouth trumpet, which is I'm a torch holder for the old jazz era vocal technique of mouth trumpeting, which is emulating the sound of a horn with my voice.
That's phenomenal. It takes a special skill, mouth trumpet. Wow.
I've been working on it for quite some time, but I started in 2005 blowing my own horn and continued to work on it and continue to work on it and listen to a lot of Chet Baker and work on my improv skills and trying to keep my technique up. And it's a challenge. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I applaud that. I salute that. If you don't teach your own horn, who will, right? That's phenomenal. Are you self-taught now as far as you're just talking about the trumpet, about the sound trumpet, and also on your ukulele?
Yes, I am self-taught. I did start out with, I guess, singing. I've been primarily self-taught and just kind of sang in my bedroom growing up as a kid. I did attend the Berklee College of Music. So I did have a college training in music and had to take 2 years of vocal private lessons and did a lot of vocal labs. But as far as guitar and ukulele go, I am self-taught. And then with the mouth trumpet, that was kind of just, you hear a sound and trying to replicate that with one's voice. Nobody taught me how to do that.
I love it. That's creative. That's fun. That adds on to your performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm able to take my own solos, and as far as if I'm performing solo, I do perform with ukulele and vocals, but also use a loop pedal so I can create tracks and vibes, and then layer vocal harmonies, backing vocals, or ukulele parts, or use my ukulele through a bass pedal, and then add a bass line. But then I can also jump into that mix with a horn solo.
So you're a one-woman band, it sounds like.
Yes, I don't need anybody.
You're very independent.
But I do love performing with other musicians. I just played last night with a violinist in, we were up in northern Minnesota. Oh. And so it was pretty cool. My friend Hero, who I met at Berklee as well, he was playing violin, but a lot of times he was playing with an affected violin. So he was putting his violin through the bass pedals as well. So he was covering a lot of the walking bass lines or bass riffs, a mix of bowing and pizzicato. And so that was really fun.
That sounds like it was a fun gig. You had a great, yeah. And now talk to me about audience participation. I'm sure you probably get that at your shows. You get the audience participate. How do you go about doing that? Yeah.
That's always a fun thing to do. I think the audience enjoys participating, and especially as an original music artist, it is important to bring that aspect in, because if you're doing cover songs, say in like last night we played in the park, and everyone brings out their chairs and their blankets, and there was the opening act, and they did a lot of cover songs, and everyone can kind of sing along and tap their feet, and they know the songs even though the arrangements might be different, but people can sing along. But when you play original music, there's a challenge of that, the guaranteed that probably the majority of the audience has never heard the song before. And it's really great when you get them to sing along or clap or, and just be a part of the music. And it just kind of, I think it stays in their mind longer when they're like, oh yeah, I like that song, or I sing along, or, she taught it to me as she went. And it makes me think of the time I saw the Flaming Lips perform at the Virgin Music Festival in Baltimore back in like 2007 maybe. And I had never heard of the Flaming Lips or knew any of their songs. But by gosh, by the end of the show, I was singing on every song from the audience, because they took the time to teach the audience the songs to participate, and it made it a lot of fun.
Is that what you do on your shows on audience participation? How do you go about exactly? Give me an example of how you go about getting the audience to participate. You have your own special style?
Well, I have a French tune that I like to do that I get them to sing along in French, but that it constitutes singing la 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 la, or like ooh la la, la 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 la. And so we joke that they are singing in French because the rest of the song is in French. There's a song that I ask them to repeat after me, and it's pretty funny. They're expecting me to sing lyrics and repeat after me, and they're singing the chorus, but then I say, repeat after me, and I go into a mouth trumpet thing, and they bust out laughing, and then by the end, they're all mouth trumpeting.
Wow, that's neat. So you give them something unexpected, and you have fun with it, and they have a great time. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I'll, give them clapping parts, or, and kind of try to challenge them, and usually they kind of laugh uncomfortably, like they won't get it, and eventually, they do get it, and you just, I'm patient with them, and we have a good time.
So you're teaching them, oh yeah. Yeah, there's a joke, it's true, I created, but it's so true. If they don't have any patience, you'll end up becoming one. Patience is a virtue, impatience is a vice.
Yeah.
That's right. So want to have as much patience as you can. Sometimes you may be thin on patience, but you want to try to have a good time with it and have a sense of humor, which is you definitely do. I can tell you have a sense of humor about you, besides talent.
Yeah, you have to. It's like being in this line of work, getting up on stage, and I mean, I take what I do very seriously, but then on the other hand, you can't take yourself too seriously. Because it'll only kill you.
Have you ever had any performance anxiety at all, any of your performances at all? If you did, how do you handle it? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Especially when I first started performing, I quit my last job in 2003, and I basically left working at the mall to go sing across country in coffee houses, and I would get so nervous. I could not wear anything, like a V-neck, even like something like this would have been too low cut. I'd have to wear basically a turtleneck because I would get so splotchy all over my chest, like red, and my face would get real flushed, and I like couldn't breathe and could barely sing, and I would power speed through all my songs, and you would think that I hated being on stage. And it just took me doing 200 shows in 2005 and, learning to like it and learning to take my time. And it was from watching another performer named LJ Booth, and it was at like a folk festival. And I just remember watching him, and he played on stage, and he kind of strummed his last note on the guitar and just let it ring. And I could tell he was enjoying it and didn't, stop it from ringing and cutting it off and being like, okay, next song. And that was a mind-opening moment of like, oh, I need to enjoy what I'm doing.
Do you have any outstanding?
Slow down.
You have any outstanding show that you've ever appeared at? You can tell me where and when that really stands out in your mind as far as your entertainment that you felt like it was so unique and it was so exciting that you'll never forget it. Any favorite?
That's a tough one. I feel very present in all of my shows, that there's always a moment that I can pull from any show that will remind me of people there, who I was playing with. That's a really tough one. I really like intimate audiences. I think crowds of like 30 to 50 are awesome because you really can connect with everyone there. And but then again, if you have a really large audience of 800 people or 1,000 people, I mean, that's great too. And you still have to kind of connect with them somehow. And I think that's my favorite part of performing, is connecting with people and the audience, and
Is there any
sharing
performance
music.
that stands out? You've had many performances. Anyone that stands out in your mind that it was probably not like the average performance, but it was so unique and so exciting, and the response was just so gratifying and so great that how can you forget it? It's unforgettable.
Well,
Anything?
one that was because I recently brought it up in another interview, it's probably in my mind. But in 2010, I opened for Jackson Browne in Italy, and it was in a fortress piazza plaza, and the setting was incredible, and the sound was amazing, and you could hear a pin drop in this fortress with the stone walls, and I was kind of the ukulele featured artist at this acoustic guitar festival. That was pretty cool. Another performance, I just sang one song, but I sang a song I wrote with 2,500 children in the Auckland, New Zealand stadium, and so that was pretty cool too.
You've had some great experiences. You've had some unforgettable experiences, Victoria. Something to be proud of. Oh yeah, that is great. That is really great.
Thank you.
You ever had a time when you performed though you tried so hard to make it work? It was very trying, but for some reason, no matter what you did, it didn't quite work. And if that's the case, how did you handle such a situation?
Oh, definitely. There's times where the looping pedal doesn't quite work out right, and either I'll try to get out of it quickly and quietly without anyone noticing, or sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, I've messed up, let me start that over. And I find audiences are very forgiving. Sometimes things don't go as planned. I remember one performance in Bend, Oregon in 2018, and I was promoting a new album, and I had the whole set list. I had a pianist coming up for one song, and then a bass player coming in for another song, and I was starting out the set solo with my loop pedal. And I got up on stage, and my loop pedal was not working at all. And it was kind of like we try to, they stalled. There wasn't a curtain. So everyone's kind of seeing me run to the back, try a new adapter, like, why aren't we getting sound out of the ukulele? And eventually, after a few minutes, I was like, I can't make people wait any longer. And I said, here we go, a change of plans, change of set list, and bass player, come on out. And, had to be prepared to perform any of my songs completely acoustic in case of something like that happening. Turns out I forgot to turn the volume up on one of my pedals, so it was complete user error.
Wow.
And I definitely learned my lesson, and I will never do that again. But another one was that I was playing, this was back in 2005 in St. Louis, Missouri. And it was at a venue called Off Broadway, which is still around. And we did a sound check. I was opening up for a band, and I was just a solo acoustic performer. We did the sound checks, and people are showing up, and all of a sudden a massive thunderstorm came through. All the power went out. Wow. And there was no lights, no sound, no nothing, except a little bit of a light from an exit sign. And the owner was like, and I'm like, well, I can play acoustic. So I just set up on a little stool underneath the exit sign and ended up playing for an hour and a half because we were waiting for the storm to pass. And it probably was the best outcome, because had I been plugged in, and considering I was the opening act, most people would have talked through my set, most likely. And maybe they would have heard something. I mean, they're always listening, but not attentively listening. But because I was solo and acoustic, it was so quiet in there, and everyone was listening, and it was actually really fun.
I see. Well, it sounds like you improvised is what you did, Victoria.
Yeah, you've got to be flexible.
You're able to think on your feet. That's right. When something doesn't go right. Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction at all in any of your performances?
In college, I would say, well, not like I guess not a malfunction, but I couldn't do certain things because of the clothes I was wearing or not wearing, and could not bend down to fix my pedal when I wasn't getting sound. Um, and so as I divulged to the audience, like, I'm not wearing any underwear right now, and I can't bend over on the stage to figure out why I'm not getting sound from my guitar. So I'm like, can somebody come and check my pedal? Occasionally, yes, buttons come undone, and bras are showing, and usually nobody says anything until I notice later, which is totally fine, but nothing too wild or crazy like Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, remember that? Problems with the top coming down. That's right. That was something at the Super Bowl. You never know. You never know. They say life is like a box of chocolates. You never quite know what you're going to get. Hopefully something sweet like Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump. You have a great sense of humor though, and a nice smile. You do. You're able to. It's something you're able to work around these things. Whatever seems to come your way. Have you ever had anybody imitate you? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Anybody ever imitate you in any performances?
Probably with the mouth trumpet. People hear it, and I teach people how to do mouth trumpet at ukulele festivals, and I think it's great that people want to do mouth horn, and they'll cover. Occasionally ukulele players will cover some of my songs and play, and I think it's great.
And what do you prefer doing? Is it covers or originals, or both equally? What?
I mostly perform my original songs. Occasionally I'll do covers. It just kind of depends on the event, but usually I do, if it was like a full solo show for a couple hours, I might throw in one or two covers, just to give the audience a little bit of a break of new material. But I prefer to play my songs.
You like to do your own.
Mm-hmm.
I see. And then you want to make it your own, I guess, whenever you do a cover, probably, even though you like to be original.
Yeah, I think of the covers that I do, I did record a cover of Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads on my debut ukulele album, and I still really like to sing that song. I've done Over the Rainbow, which is kind of in a la Israel Comic of Evil Ole on the ukulele. So it's similar. It's not too crazy different, but I do like to sing songs that men sing, because people can't they can't compare you directly to like another female vocal. That it's just really listening to the song.
Okay, what kind of music do you go for? Is it country or pop or rock or jazz or folk or?
It's a little bit of all of that. Sorry, I had to plug in my computer. I'm now charging. It's folk, it's pop, it's jazz, it's a little bit of rock. I love a lot of kinds of music and world music, and so I don't think I'm influenced by one particular genre or artist. And
so you're not limited. You're versatile. You're open to different.
Yeah, and the ukulele is particularly a very versatile instrument, and it plays, easily can go jazzy and swing, and it can be poppy or folky, and so it definitely is an instrument for accompanying myself to write in a lot of different musical styles.
What's the attraction now of ukulele? It's similar to a guitar. What was the attraction of ukulele? Do you prefer ukulele over a guitar? And
So yeah, I actually started out on guitar when I was 16, and then when I was 24 was when I started the ukulele. And I had to, at some point, I made a conscious decision to actually learn how to play ukulele and learn the correct chord names. And it's a little bit, there are similarities between the ukulele and guitar. The ukulele has 4 strings instead of 6. So 4 fingers, it's a little bit easier. I would say. But there's just so much rhythm, and it turned out to be my instrument of choice for accompanying myself. And it didn't
You love it. You love it,
interfere.
really.
It doesn't interfere with the vocal. The guitar can have a lot of overtones, and you've got kind of this low notes, and can be kind of boomy and just louder in general. And so the ukulele is kind of this little underdog and very unintimidating instrument.
Fun. It's like anything. It takes practice, though.
Yes, of course.
What's the typical day now as a singer and songwriter? What do you prefer, singing or songwriting, or is it equal? And what is a typical day in the life of a musician?
I like doing both. I like singing my songs that I write, or writing songs and singing. I don't know if I would put one over the other, but I do really enjoy singing. And so when I'm on tour, it's kind of, you get up, you get going, have a cup of coffee, probably get in the car, drive somewhere, set up, sing, and then pack up, and then go somewhere else and sleep, and then repeat. And then when I'm at home, and then like during the pandemic, I was working on my new album, and that was, recording and writing and producing, as each song came, and I was inspired to do so.
You didn't let the pandemic interfere with you. You were still able to accomplish quite a bit, it sounds like, Victoria.
Yeah, I've tried to make the most of it. I'm sure I could have done more, but I think ultimately we need to be kind to ourselves, and me getting down on myself for not doing something during a time I could have or should have. I try to just take it as it comes.
It's a good attitude. Good words to live by. Victoria, any favorite venues now that you've got when you go out on tour and you travel? Where have you traveled to? And you have any favorite outstanding memories of places that you've traveled to?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's been a while. Obviously, with the pandemic, I just had my first solo tour in over 2 years.
I see.
In June. So it's good to be back out on the road. I definitely feel my stamina is not what it used to be, and I'm trying to get it back. I was singing, almost every day. And right now I'm on another tour with my husband accompanying me, and so it's a mix of shows with him or solo or with a violinist. And gosh, so I mean, as far as like new in the past 2 months, favorite venues, that's my brain, I don't know. We did the Durango Ukulele Festival. That was just a couple weekends ago.
Oh.
And then a couple other ukulele festivals. Did a really nice house concert in Glendale. There's just a lot has changed since the pandemic, and I still feel like I'm just getting back into it.
I see. Well, you're a survivor, and you're doing your best. That's all anyone can do.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody who's inspired and motivated you in entertainment and singing and songwriting? And is there anybody that you look up to, Julie?
Yeah, I mean, there's artists that I really enjoy. As far as like big name artists, they would include Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush. Then probably slightly lesser known, but in my mind equal, is Laurie Anderson. Is another artist who I love, and just I think I'm influenced by. And then as far as like on a little bit more of an indie level, Jill Sabule is a songwriter that I really like. Um, gosh, I'm just always, I think if someone were to look at my iTunes or music playlist or of music that I own, I would say the majority of it is independent artists. And so there's a lot of people I meet on the road or just hear of, and just I like supporting fellow songwriters and the non-mainstream, the non-major label artists. So probably a lot of people are somewhat unknown.
What about artists like Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, Celine Dion? I mean, people like that.
Celine Dion. When I was in high school, I was a foreign exchange student in France, and probably my favorite album of Celine's is called, I think it's called The French Album, and she sings all in French, and it was a huge hit in France in 1995, 96. So that's probably some of my favorite work of hers. Carrie Underwood, I'm really not familiar with her music other than a couple songs that I've heard on the radio. And Taylor Swift, probably the same thing, although I did see her, she had made like a 15-minute remake of a song with like kind of like a little story video, and I think it was kind of like it was called All Too Well. And I thought it was just really great and a really beautiful song and well done. And, I think with the film and the writing and her directing, she's got she's doing it.
It's great. And now you and your husband work together, do things together. What does he do to help you on your performances? And does he help you write songs or perform in person, or what exactly does he do?
Jack is also a songwriter. We met at the Berklee College of Music. And we occasionally write together, not as much as we probably would like to, but we're both pretty involved in our own projects. But he sings and plays guitar and bass, so he'll fill in wherever I need him in the performance of a song. And he's very tasteful. So I think for a player to accompany a songwriter / singer, they have to be very careful not to step over the lyrics or step over the melody or step over the artist. And so it takes a really good ear, and to know, when to not overplay or, just kind of sit back a little bit. And so I definitely appreciate his playing for that reason.
That's great. It's like Kenny Rogers used to say, you got to know when to hold them and fold them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that song, The Gambler? Yeah. No, it sounds like that's great. You two make an excellent team. You have more in common with each other than common cold. Yeah, and you reinforce and help one another. And that's what a partner does. It's supportive.
Yeah, and he'll even do mouth trumpet parts along with me, although his technique is totally different. And not so much mouth trumpet. He's like a burp or burp or whatever, but I get the tone, so it sounds like two horns.
I see. How do you handle, things are always smooth. How have you been able to handle rejection? It's a part of, entertainment, but in general life, but especially entertainment, artists have to deal with rejection. How have you been able to, if you experienced it, overcome it?
Yeah, there's always a ton of it. I would say that it kind of a mantra that I've had as far as being an independent artist and self-employed businesswoman is to be like water and go where there are cracks in the door, go where or look for the open door instead of, knocking on the same door that is never going to open. Like, I just can't be bothered. And so there are places where I've gotten, a certain number of rejections, and eventually I just it's not that I give up. It's just I stop beating myself up about not getting in that door, because there's other doors that are open, or there's other opportunities that are available that I can find my way to. And maybe eventually that other door will eventually open, maybe not. Maybe the door ends up going out of business before I get back to it. Who knows? But I try to any person, I think, can only take so much rejection, and
Right.
eventually you stop trying. And it's not to stop trying, but you stop trying to be accepted by the people who will never understand what I do, or maybe they won't even give me a chance, because they'll think like, oh, she plays ukulele, and there's a stigma that comes with that. I'm like, oh, they think of Tiny Tim or whatever. And if they're not even willing to come to a show or open up a CD and put it on, or then that's somebody I probably want to work with anyways.
Right. So these are people narrow-minded. Yeah, you want to avoid those.
I don't want to say they're narrow-minded, but everybody's music is so subjective. And even today we went to the Walker Art Museum in Minneapolis, and there's a lot of contemporary art and abstract art. And some of it I look at and I'm just like, you're kidding me, right? And how much money did the museum pay to acquire this exhibit or this installation? And some things I just don't get. And and so art is, music, art, dance, it's all very subjective. So I think we can only take rejection as a grain of salt ultimately.
Well, yeah, you can't please everybody. Like Ricky Nelson said in the garden party, if you can't please everybody, please yourself. So yeah, you're not going to please everybody, but you do the best you can, and that's all anyone can do.
Do the best you can, and move towards those open doors, or where there's room to get in there.
That's right. If one thing doesn't work, something else could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Try something different. Improvise. Yeah. One thing doesn't work, something else will. One door closes, another door can open up. It's all the way you think, right, Victoria?
Yep.
And see yourself as victorious. You have when you think about your name, you think about victory, the ecstasy of victory. That's for sure.
Yes, it's the double V.
There you go. That's a beautiful name, it is. Yeah. So I'm trying to think now. Oh, what about songwriting now? How do you get your ideas now to be creative? When you write a song, is it the music comes first, or the words, or vice versa?
I tend to write my songs with the lyrics and the melody and the harmonic changes kind of all together. I might start with some sort of musical idea or a riff, and then I'll start singing over top, seeing what melody comes out of the thin air, and eventually find, kind of improv over something until you feel like, oh, that's cool, or I like that idea. And then the gibberish of melody eventually turns into some sort of words, and then I write them down, and then I might stop for a second and be like, what am I singing about here? Like, what is maybe subconsciously in my mind that I'm wanting out? And I just kind of let the song write itself, and I try not to control too much where it's going, unless it's like a project song and there's a purpose, or it's supposed to be about something or someone in particular. But even then, I try to let it breathe on its own as much as it can.
So you do the best you can and just put it all together.
You
have any
making up songs.
You're just having fun making up. Better make up instead of break up, right? Okay. Anyway, do you have any secrets for writing a hit song and everything? And when you write a song, is it about songs that people like and prefer, or is it about what you yourself like, or what's what's your main purpose behind when you try to write a hit song? What's the main purpose behind it?
Well, I probably can't really speak from writing a hit song, as I've never had a hit song. But
Okay.
I've won awards for songs, but as far as like what's on the radio, sometimes I find it's a little ridiculous of, what constitutes a hit song, and the melody or the hook or the silly lyric, and sometimes it's just that, and it's just if you're really writing hit songs, you're looking for catchy little hooks. The lyrics don't need to be much. It could be a little silly. It could be just something that's catchy. I don't, I write music. I do have some fun, upbeat songs, but also a lot of really heartfelt and moving songs. And ultimately, when I'm performing, I just want to make people feel good, or move them, maybe get them thinking about something in another way, whether it's accepting somebody who's different from them, or forgiving someone, family. I don't know. I just
You're full of variety. You can either write a real slow, serious song, or write it probably an up type of song that's entertaining and fun.
And I think in my writing process, whenever I either make myself laugh or cry, I know I've done good. So I always look for either one of those things. Either if I'm making myself laugh or cry, I'll know that I'm on the right track, and whether or not it's hit song for mass radio, it's good enough for me.
If it's good enough for you, why not? Why shouldn't it be good enough for someone else? That's for sure. Any music competitions now, songwriting competitions that you've entered? Talk to me about that. Tell me about the different places that you've entered your song, your music, and if you won any awards, and tell me all about that.
It's been a while since I've entered into like a songwriting competition. The last award I think was in 2019 and that was pre-pandemic, for the independent, IMA's Independent Music Awards, and that was for a nomination for my album. So I've had a few nominations. One of my albums won a VOX Populi award, meaning that people voted on it and they chose that was the winner, the People's Choice Award. I have a French song, C'est Noyer, that won first place in the International Acoustic Music Awards. And it's a lot of times it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall, and again, it's so subjective, and it's a bit like a jury is, whatever they're into or whatever they think is hot right now or popular. And I try not to write too much with that in mind.
Well, it varies. You can tell a story. You can do something serious. You can do something more animated and more entertaining, and you can go back and forth. It sounds like, and that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have something to be proud of in some of these places that you won awards. Those are great. Those are happy and wonderful, great experiences.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to any sort of recognition, especially being an independent songwriter. Any kind of recognition is welcome and much appreciated. So it's nice.
Well, you love what you're doing. I can tell. I can feel your mind, body, heart, and soul is really into it. It's not something you're forcing yourself to do. You have and continue to have a very exciting and rewarding and happy and fun and inspirational life, Victoria VOX.
Yeah, it is a job, but yeah, I love my job.
Well, yeah, if you can do something that you truly love, that's very important. A lot of people do things they don't care for, they're forced to do. Before you did get into entertainment, what was the job that you did? You worked at the mall.
I graduated from the Berklee College of Music with a degree in songwriting, And when I graduated, I worked at Restoration Hardware in both Boston and Nashville. And then I quit that job to go busk in Europe for like about 6 months. And that's kind of, I think, street performing and singing and realizing like I can do this. Like I can make money singing on the street or singing in a venue and making contacts. And but then I came, racked up a bit of credit card debt. So then I came back home to the States and worked at a record store. I've worked at the mall, clothing companies, and everything was very retail based, which is also a big part of what I do now. And even though I'm songwriting and making music, I'm selling T-shirts and CDs and ukulele themed underpants and vinyl and books and and so it's coming up with fun ways to promote my music, to present my music to the listener that might interest someone in supporting me, they would purchase a T-shirt or an album.
That's great. So you're doing other things and at the same time promoting yourself, selling CDs, selling T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
It all works out. Very, 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 very good, Victoria. Let me ask you, do you have any advice for people who want to become successful in entertainment? Any advice?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's lots of advice. I guess, ultimately have fun. And if it's not fun, find something else that's fun. It's a lot of work and it never gets easier. Although I'd like to think it does, it doesn't. And, really listen to your heart, listen to your gut, and do what you love and give it your best, and don't be shy or ashamed or afraid. And all you can do is give it a shot.
That's all you can do is do your best. If things are not going so good, you can always take a break from it and then come back.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's for sure. Very good. Anyway, I want to say, Victoria, if you had to do anything, if you had to do anything over again in your life and career, would you do anything differently?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't think that I would. I don't know. If I did, it would have maybe been responding more to certain emails in a timely manner. There are definitely some opportunities that I missed just due to my lack of response and missing an email, or it ends up in the junk mail. So that's, business stuff, but I've learned to not beat myself up about that either. And if can, there's a Hawaiian saying that says, if can, if no can, no can. And so I kind of live by that. But I don't know. I don't think I would change a whole lot. I'm really happy with the music that I've made, that I'm making. And it's been a really cool career, and just growing as an artist and as myself, from someone from a very small town in Wisconsin, that I've been able to do what I do. So I don't know what I would change, whether it was, getting the audition to back up a major label country artist, of whether had I had that opportunity, I might be in a very different place. And whether or not, I don't think money is really, obviously the world revolves around money, and we all need money to survive, right, to some level. As far as the level of success, monetary success, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just that I think success has more to do than just money.
You feel it's not just, of course, you need money to survive, but you feel it's something that you feel that you truly love, that you're not forcing yourself, you truly love it. Every fiber you're being, you really love it. So you have no regret.
There definitely were a couple, forks in the road that I always chose to continue doing my thing, my music, my songwriting, my performing versus, backing someone else up or working for another company, doing something musical, but not my own music. And I guess I always just chose to do my thing, and I don't regret any of that.
It sounds like you're a happy camper. In general, you wouldn't have done anything much different than what you're doing. Maybe a little bit, but in general, you're content. That's what
maybe doing things better or more efficiently. But you learn. We learn as we go.
That's true. Trial and error. You learn from any mistakes, and you correct yourself and make yourself better. You can always do better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about now? You teach workshops, don't you, for ukulele and voice? Is that correct?
Yeah, at the ukulele festivals. Part of I guess what makes me what's the word I'm looking for? Attractive to bring in as an artist at these festivals is because I also can teach. There's a lot of artists that can't teach and don't know how to teach, or how they can show a group of people how to do something, but as far as breaking it down and being patient with the group, I think I'm pretty good at that. But yeah, I've taught songwriting, I've taught ukulele playing, and just techniques and skill foundation stuff. I've taught mouth trumpet workshops, singing workshops, and it's kind of because in Germany at one of the festivals they called it a play shop, and I actually really liked that term, play shop, instead of workshop. And yes, you are giving things for people to work on and take home, but we're just kind of playing around and having a good time.
It sounds like it's very rewarding for you, all these things you're doing.
Yeah, I love sharing music with people, and I know that probably 99% of the people that are attending these workshops are not aspiring to be a full-time musician or performer or touring artist. That they're just doing something. It's a hobby. It's enjoyable to them, and
so everybody's going to do it seriously to make a living at it. But if they're doing it as a hobby, they're still accomplishing something. They're still having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Depends upon, I guess, what a person's wants and needs are. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's the same in the world, right? Different strokes for different folks. One person's treasure can be someone else's trash. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So as long as you're doing a great job, you're having a lot of fun time. You're adding on and motivating, inspiring people, and you're helping them. At the same time, you're helping them. You're helping yourself.
That is true.
You're blazing some more trails there, Victoria. That's great. Do you have any, Victoria? Do you have any present projects at all that you're thinking of?
Well, I just completed my new album. I actually have them right here because I've been on the road with them. It's my new book. It's called Nirvana in REM, and it's a book with a musical CD inside.
Really?
Featuring artwork by Fred Stonehouse, and so all the songs are inspired by his artwork or paired with, or there's one piece and I also inspired Fred to paint after he heard one of the songs. And so there's a limited edition hardcover version with the CD in the back. And that comes signed by me and Fred. And so that just came out on April 1st, and this is kind of my first summer touring, getting out on the road and playing those songs, and
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Selling the CDs from my trunk.
That's fantastic. Congratulations on that, Victoria.
Thank you.
Salute you on that. You're welcome. Do you have any future projects now? Any future dream projects that you haven't done that you really would love to do in the future?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I've always got a lot of original music, so it's kind of like whether I do singles or a new album, or how, you know, I think of the grouping of songs together, if that would work. Or so yeah, I've got some new material, and whether it has a home yet, I don't know. And then we're getting to the point where I probably, if I'm going to do it for this year, I should probably start as soon as I get home in August. But that would be to record a full-length Christmas album, a holiday album. I've done a couple where it was like an EP of 4 original holiday songs. And then I did a mouth trumpet piano Christmas CD / card. That was a hoot. And but I'd like to do an album of, you know, original holiday songs. But then also a Chet Baker tribute album, which would feature my mouth trumpet. And then also an album of French songs, preferably original. So I would have to get to work writing those.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It really does.
Yeah, so I don't know which one will come first. I wasn't planning on doing the Nirvana in REM album, and it just kind of fell into my lap as a project, and it kind of took the everything else kind of went to the back burner. So this was pretty unexpected, and so I try to, you know, who knows, tomorrow might be inspired to do something else, and flexible.
Those are nice surprises that came about.
Yeah.
Better be surprised, disappointed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Victoria VOX, if people want to find out more about you, can you give me the links to tell me about the links? Where can they find out more about you? All over.
The best place is victoriavox.com, and that's VICTORIA, V as in Victor, OX.com. That has links to everything linkable you can imagine, Wikipedia to Pandora or Spotify or iTunes and Bandcamp, and so there's all those places. I'm also on Instagram. Basically, my handle is Victoria VOX.
Facebook.
And Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook.
Victoria VOX on Facebook. I've got a page. And yeah, I love Instagram and Facebook. They're great ways to connect with people. And
you have a YouTube channel also, Victoria. You have a YouTube channel.
I do. Yeah, I haven't. I don't post enough, a lot to that, as much as I probably should. But there are a lot of videos up there, and working on new music videos. That's another thing coming up, is I'd like to do. I did one music video in January for a new song called Clean from the new album, which was all filmed in a shower with writing all over my body, and I was washing off the words.
I love it.
It was fun. It took 5 takes. But
body in the shower. Well, that sounds
yeah. People just like, oh, you got my attention.
That's a big work of art, isn't it?
But it's very PG, so but I'm in the shower. And I have a lot of other ideas for music videos, and it's just a matter of timing. And you know, I have so much respect for filmmakers and people who, you know, writing storyboards for music videos and even just filming, and it's a lot of work.
Victoria VOX, you have a lot of things going on. You have a lot of positive, great, creative, and fun projects going on. That's for sure. Very, very exciting life. Anyway, I want to ask you now about creating. There's a few songs. There's a song that you created called the Bird Song. Talk to me about that. Tell me how you went about creating the Bird Song.
Yeah, the Bird Song I wrote back in 2007. and I was actually stuck in a traffic jam on the 5 in California on my way to an open mic or something in Long Beach. And it's just a little tune about being away from someone you love, and that song has come to mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. And I've done long distance dedication requests, kind of where someone would say, "Hey, my friend is coming to your show, and will you give, send this song to them and say it's from us?" And that's always really sweet. I kind of feel like Delilah or something. But yeah, and that song is kind of over the years. I mean, it's been out for 14 years now, and has that was the song that I sang with 2,500 children in New Zealand.
Really?
And so it's pretty crazy how songs just kind of live on, and they end up taking their own, they have their own journey. And
interesting. That's a very interesting audience. 2,500.
Yeah, there are times where it makes me cry because it makes me think of somebody who has passed on. And then other times it's just a really fun song to sing because I'll get, the audience mouth trumpeting with me, and it'll be real light and not too heavy. So it kind of depends, I guess, where I am at the time emotionally. And
I see. Well, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that with our audience, Victoria. Anyway, I have a treat for our audience too, ladies and gentlemen. This song, the bird song, that Victoria was just talking about, she created. We're going to play it for our audience right now. I want everybody to relax and have a wonderful time. Have a blazing hot fun time listening to it. The bird song.
I'm gonna sing like a bird in the sky. The sky's so high, and I'm gonna
Bravo, Victoria.
A lot of memories come back of recording that song. I worked with producer Mike Tarantino on that, and we recorded in his studio off of Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles.
Really?
And I spent about 7 weeks total in Los Angeles and crashing with the girlfriend. And I would drive up to Mulholland Drive and working on that album. And we did like 4 weeks I think like January, and then I ended up going back in September, and I had written a whole new slew of songs. So it ended up being a very different album at the end. But yeah, that was Mike Tarantino, I think, on the toy piano and the little cardboard box drums, and we had a lot of fun.
Oh. That's what I have.
And that was a very early mouth trumpet. So I'd only been mouth trumpeting at that point for 2 years. So I definitely can hear that I do it much better now.
Well, practice makes perfect, like anything.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. This first one I thought was great. But apparently, as time has gone on by, you're doing better and better all the time. Anyway, Victoria, thanks for sharing that with us. That was wonderful. There was another song. I was curious as to how you went about creating it. It's called Remember the Music. Talk to me about that. How did you go about creating that song?
Yeah, so Remember the Music was written in 2012.
Okay.
And it was during a self-inflicted 52 songwriting project where I would write a song a week for the year. And I had heard about Ari Hest, and he had done a similar project. And then we both know Ernie Halter, who's another songwriter, performer. And Ernie had gotten in touch, and he said, you and Ari have inspired me, and I'm going to do my own 52 songwriting project starting on my birthday in October. And Ernie came through Baltimore on tour, and it was when I was living there still. And I had already written 45 songs for the year. And Ernie had just started his project, and he came and stayed at my house. He had a gig in town. And we thought, like, all right, let's hit 2 birds with 1 stone. It's your week 6 and my week 46. And Ernie Halter and I wrote Remember the Music together in my living room. I think we probably started it before. I'm thinking it was before he left for his show, or it might have been at night before he went to bed. And then he had slept in a little bit in the morning. And by the time he came downstairs, I had finished the chorus / B section. So it was just a really fun kind of write.
Great. So you collaborated on the song. That's happy memories. Well, yeah. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat instead of a treatment for you. It says, this song, how can you forget it? It's unforgettable. Let's have a blazing hot fun time, ladies and gentlemen, as we listen to Remember the Music.
I don't recall where I left my keys. My hat, I could swear it was here. I write myself notes. I find myself losing them. Clearly my memory's not clear. I tie a string around my fingers, but I can't remember what for. Did I turn off the stove or leave on the iron? Did I even lock the front door? But there's always a thread of melody in my head. Oh, with all the things I forget, I remember the music. I see it now. The band was playing. I held you close in my arms. We swayed into the night like we were the only ones. We were the brightest stars. long gone from my ears, but there's always a thread of melody in my head. Oh, with all the things I forget, I remember the music. When I hear that song, I start singing along. The love that we share, it ain't going nowhere, 'cause there's always a thread of melody in my head. Oh, with all the things I forget, I remember the music. I remember the music. I remember the music.
Remember, unforgettable. Bravo. Got me clapping and snapping my fingers to it. It's so entertaining and so much fun and so much passion.
Thank you. Yeah, that was another one. So that came out on my album called Key, produced by Jeff Stanfield, and we recorded that album mostly in Seattle. And he came to Baltimore to record Katie Chambers on cello on some of the cello parts for the album. And this was actually a very last minute addition to the record. And I thought, like, oh yeah, we should put that on there. And so we basically he had two, I mean, they were really nice microphones, but two mics set up in my house in Baltimore. And that was the recording that came on the record. And yeah, and it was, you know, in my mind, I think when Ernie and I wrote it, it was this song kind of, you know, remembering love, and you know how, you know, songs bring back smells or, you know, memories of people, and it's a kind of a happy thing, you know. Usually it's a happy thing of, you know,
yeah.
like
It's like a happy ballad vaudeville song. That's what I feel.
Yeah, you know, and so I always thought it as that. And then I was traveling it was when I went to New Zealand, and I stayed at a bed and breakfast, and ended up playing a couple songs for some of the other guests. And I thought, like, oh yeah, remember the music. This will be really fun and, you know, great. The lady starts crying halfway through, and I was just kind of like, oh no, like, what did I do? And turns out her mother had Alzheimer's, and it's kind of also become this thing of where people really connect to that song with dementia and Alzheimer's, and that you know, music can kind of be that bridge back to, you know, into our world of where they are, where it does you know, maybe for a moment they can enjoy.
It's an escape. That's why they have such a thing as music therapy. It's therapy for people.
So it's kind of become quite a touching song that was, you know, something that was meant, you know, it was written as kind of light and silly and, you know, fun, but then people kind of connect to it on a much deeper level, which is really cool. And the bird song similarly in that regard.
That is touching. It really is. It's touching my mind, body, heart, and soul. It really is. I truly love it, Victoria.
Thank you.
I feel that they're victorious by performing such a great, beautiful, wonderful song. Yes. Oh, I want to say before we get ready to wrap up, Victoria, the time has gone by really fast. I really enjoyed it here. It's been so inspirational and so much fun. You're really going forward, blazing many, many trails. And I salute and applaud you for that. I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, and I'm sure it's a friend of yours too, Bruce Wozniak. He interviewed you, and you interviewed with him on a podcast. Talk to me about it. Tell me all about how you, where you met him, about the interview.
Yeah, I met Bruce at the NAMM convention, the NAMM show, which is at the Anaheim Convention Center in Anaheim, California. And this year, NAMM happened in June, when usually it happens in January. And they're slowly in the next couple of years, we'll be getting it back to January. So I think next year it will happen in April, and then it will, I think then the following year it will be back in January. But yeah,
What does it stand for?
NAM is that, I believe it's National Association of Music Merchants. So it's basically any company that makes musical equipment, instruments, accessories, anything, you know, basically imagine a guitar center and then multiply that by a convention center. And there's the drums, and every company that makes drums and guitars and violins and ukuleles and guitar straps and guitar picks and harmonicas and organs, and I mean it's everything. It's pretty incredible. So it's kind of like a trade show. A lot of companies are showing off new products. There's a lot of artists that come to either showcase music, but also to demo the equipment. And it's a buyers, primarily it has been in the past anyways, a buyers conference. So those that owners of music stores and resellers would ideally, you know, kind of schmooze with the companies and then put in their order to receive, you know, a shipment that they would sell in their store, which they would, you know, be purchasing at wholesale. So they're getting it at a discount. And it's all just about music business and music industry and music sales. And yeah, Bruce and Wendy reached out to interview me at the NAMM show, and for the Now Hear This Entertainment podcast. And we just had a great chat hanging out in the media room.
Well, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Bruce is a great guy. He's had over 400 interviews on his podcast. He's been doing it for about 7.5, 8 years. That's right. Yeah,
it's incredible. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, he's doing great. He really is. I give a shout out to him. I think it's just amazing and spectacular what he's doing. I had 3 of his clients on, and then he asked me to go ahead and he said, "Why don't you make me a guest?" So I interviewed him. He called himself yours truly, and I interviewed him. And Bruce is just a wonderful guy. He's you know, he loves what he's doing, and he cares about people, and I can feel it in his podcast and his work. And he puts so much feeling and passion and chutzpah and charisma into what he's doing. So I just wanted to shout out about that.
Yeah, it's amazing, and bless Bruce for doing that, because you know, he is a champion of the independent artist and musician, and as you are, and so thank you for that.
My pleasure. I'm so glad that I have had you as a guest. You have been so inspirational, amazing, blazing, charismatic, full of chutzpah, full of talent, and so enthusiastic and so much fun. And the time has really gone by fast. So I'm happy to have had you on as a guest on the Amazing Rachel Johnny Blaze Show.
Thanks for having me.
You've been delightful, Veronica. And wrapping up the show, Victoria VOX, I just want to say to all my fans and friends, always keep a smile on your face and a song in your heart. Until next time, happy trails and blaze out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be a guest on an entertainment talk show, please send us an email at amazingorijginaljbshow@gmail.com. All of our guests receive a complimentary DVD of their appearance on the show. Every episode appears on YouTube and Facebook and receives between 3,000 and 4,000 views. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Amazing Original Johnny Blaze Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing original Johnny Blaze has just left the building. Good night, and God bless you. Thank you.